got dreams and you know they matter. Be your own boss, climb your own ladder. That moment's getting closer by the day. And you're in the same boat with a lot of your friends, launching ideas you all believe in. The tide's gonna turn and it's all gonna roll your way.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Dolly.
Hey, Dolly. Dolly, thanks for letting us use your song.
Yeah, right.
And we kept it short. I think it's short enough where it's not, shouldn't even really raise a flag because it should be into the second count. But anyway,
we'll be
hey, everybody, and welcome to the Be My Own Boss podcast. Hopefully you're seeing it live on the Be My Own Boss channel. If you're not, I put a community post up. So this is where we'll be every week. If you're on Facebook, hopefully you'll be joining us there too, because we are now fresh on Facebook. So that's something I'll be promoting to bring some of that group into. Because now we're how far it's October 7th. So we're literally 4 weeks today from the election, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Or 4 weeks tomorrow. I'm sorry. 4 weeks tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Every
day seems like today these days.
Right. So when we end this today, we have 3 more before the election.
Yeah.
That's how close this is coming. And I think that Mike and I were backstage even, talking a little bit about it. Like, nobody's going to be happy with the outcome of this election. I mean, or I'm saying there's going to be huge groups not happy. And it's going to, I don't know. It's quite the thing that I'm hearing. I've been through enough elections. I know Mike has too, to know that people get crazy about this time, but I feel like things are, and I'm not even saying it's one side or the other. Things are getting really crazy and people are getting really over the top with how they're deciding to handle this. What happened to just having a good election and like debates and let's vote for who we want to and not hate our family and friends because they think this way or that way. I don't know. I mean, it seems like you always hear about the political divide, but I feel like this political divide is just snapping America in half.
I think that I agree with you, Steve. I think the antidote is more interchange with your like-minded family and friends and your clients. There is so much goodness in this country, in the individuals in this country, and in their efforts. Witness the Southern Appalachians in Florida, Georgia, is to reach out and just be their friend and their ally. And there is, no matter what you talk about, just knowing that you care about them, you're thinking about them, pass a joke to them, anything. And that strengthens the friendship bonds, and it diffuses people's concerns. Like, I'm all alone right here. I have no allies. Nobody knows about me. No. Lots of people know about you. They have, they can get a hold of you anytime. They're working really hard on that. So you can take the initiative to change that. And that's the interesting situation that we're in. Very, very, very engaging.
Yeah, I guess I've started coming to the conclusion that I'm blaming tech, the advancement of tech, and how quick it is too with a lot of this too, as opposed to past elections. These deep fakes and things like this, where a lot of people not familiar with deep fakes are getting faked out by them, and they're believing this to be true.
Yes.
Like, did she really say all that, or what the heck? And they're running around telling other people who might believe that too, who might not be very in tune with how good the deep fakes have gotten. And so just be careful, guys. Just, I think Mike just said it kind of, just just trying to have positive conversations with people. Things are going to I think things will get worse over the next few weeks, and then they'll get better again, regardless of what happens. But I think the next few weeks could be rough. So just try and get through it, and I guess try and not, I've talked to enough people where try and not let it make a wedge between family and friends and things of that matter. But we're here to talk about what we can do to stay independent contractors. And last week we talked about Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And this week we're going to discuss Arizona and
Wisconsin.
and Wisconsin.
Two very different swing states. That and Pennsylvania, all three states are leaning very slightly towards the pro self-employment, pro private economy side. So this is a good time to pile on that and talk to some of those. Talk to your friends. I want to give an example. Looking at what we're asking people to do. Looking at Arizona. I have a brother-in-law who lives there who has spent most of his life, he might be retired now, but most of his life working as self-employed, sometimes with a full-time job, sometimes with a part-time job. So I'm going to ask him if he'd be interested in making a statement to support self-employment. I suspect he would be, and his wife as well. So and in Wisconsin, I've got a former client. We've been friends for 20 some odd years, and don't know his situation right now, but he'd definitely take my call, and he'd be happy to chat with me about it. And that's probably the same mix. Everybody who sees this video has probably got some friend in one of those three states. That's a good chunk of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you just reach out. Even reaching out helps. And you never know. They may say, the guy across the street from me, the couple both work self-employed. Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me do this and a couple of things? And here's a website. Just make a statement, real short, just like you'd send the kids to a party you had.
And guys, I think it was last week when I asked Mike, maybe it was 2 weeks ago when I asked you what you thought the voting percentage might look like how much of America really votes. And then since I've even heard it, I can't remember, 65%, something along the lines of what you were saying. You guys make sure you vote this time. I don't care if you've missed votes in the past,
Yeah, we're not
you gotta vote. You gotta vote this time. I mean, you should always vote, but you got to vote this time. We're not telling you how to vote, but you got to vote.
You're going to have to defend self-employment, but easier now than later.
Later might not be an option.
Well, that's the point.
I mean, this is I know that every election's made to be a do or die, but to be honest, this one is a big one.
This one certainly seems to be the real thing.
Yeah, it does. And that's to me, that's very scary because I don't know. A lot of times when you make something disappear, it's very hard to ever make it come back.
Yes, very hard. We've had the Fair Labor Standards Act in all of its badness. We've had it for 86 years, and it's never gone away. Everybody says it's a terrible law. Yep. That's what's for dinner. It's too bad. So get there, stay there, get out in front, make yourself known. And
all right. Well, should we jump into Arizona? Should we start with Arizona, or is this both of them? Or
we can sort of do a side by side. Arizona has they have two very different economies, and their use of independent contractors is different. So different that even though they're different sizes, population of Arizona is 7.5 million. So think of it as a really good size eastern city. And Wisconsin is 5.9 million. But so that seems like a big difference between the states. But Arizona has, by our calculations, 1.6 million self-employed independent contractors. And Wisconsin has 1.4. So they're very close, very close. And I think, thinking of this through from the economics, I think that has to do with the nature of the economy of each one. Arizona is much more of a service economy, healthcare, retail, construction, information. And Wisconsin, you can sort of picture it yourself, much more manufacturing, agriculture, cheeseheads, and healthcare. So each needs self-employers. Both those fields use them a lot. The agriculture can't get along without experts and you don't need an expert every day to tell you what your farm mix ought to look like. But boy, when you need them, the return is fantastic.
Right.
Similarly, in healthcare in Arizona. So I'm just reaching out to those people. They're going to have your different expectations. They're going to be in different occupations, but they're both really valuable swing states, and they should be quite sensitive to independent contractors saying, we want a party, we want an administration that's going to pay attention to our needs as individuals.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, especially the farming too. I heard a really weird stat about farming, which I guess I kind of understand, but that the generational passing along of farms is kind of dying off. In terms of like, that we have older farmers, but their kids and stuff don't want to take over the farms, or they've moved on to other things. And so hopefully that's not a bad effect either, because Wisconsin is a farming community, big time.
Yep.
And we need them to be. So I hope that that's not really the case.
Well, that has to do with the people, I think, who are working and living on their own land. And there are a lot of, I have a graduate degree from a school of agriculture, and boy, that was a eye opener, because everybody thinks, it's a guy in overalls and, red bandana, baseball cap. But in fact, it is the most highly automated sector of the entire economy. And yes, I'm including all the IT. Those people.
But what's wrong with overalls in a? I think that kind of sounds like a nice day, actually.
Right. Yes. Well, we'd be recreational farmers, and there's stories about those guys. But I mean, if you had 35,000 acres that you were farming, your life is going to be mainly in an air-conditioned cabin and a computer console, and down, making arrangements and doing deals for large volumes of your product.
Oh yeah, I know that farms are incorporating like mass drones now and other things too, and so yeah, I mean, these farmers say that now they're going to be like the highest tech people. Like, you need to know how to run drones, and okay.
Oh, the capital required, and all that needs advice, all that needs help.
Yeah.
So and then there's, not to mention, repair and IT and all the other services that they demand. So,
but okay, so we have the people of Arizona. Are some of these people? Are you concerned? Well, let me say this: are you concerned that some people are so rural they might not be so in the loop enough to understand how important the vote is this time? Or do you think everybody does? I mean, obviously there'd be exceptions, but for the most part, everybody understands.
I think we have a much higher comprehension this election, Steve, than normal. It's really hard to find any example of someone who's like, "What? There's an election? Why? What are we doing this time?" Everybody's tuned in. You listen to the people in Tennessee and North Carolina. They are completely plugged in. This is not, 50 years ago with people living in the hollers and all the cliches, not really knowing what was going on in civilization. These people are right up to speed. I know them. I lived in Brevard, North Carolina for 2 years and worked there in business development. So even then they were pretty onto it all. That was in the Nixon administration. And it's much more sophisticated now than it used to be. And it's as sophisticated as anything you'll find in the downtowns.
Oh,
they have different things that they focus on, but they work in the same businesses. They do the same things as everybody else. Very small market for moonshine.
Well, I think North Carolina is getting a firsthand dose right now of government, as is And I'll just leave it at that because I
very-
watched a lot of stuff this weekend. And I was just blown away at even like towns like Asheville or Boone that should definitely have a lot more help. I mean, they're basically washed away. They're not just hit. I mean, and I don't call them mountains. I call them hills. But the Asheville's like in the middle of hills. Boone is on the top of a hill. Like these are communities that are not, that it all came through and washed things away, but it's also just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's like standing water. Like when you have to call a plumber, it's like it's not going anywhere.
That's right. Well, it's dammed up behind log dams, and I mean, there's a limit to what the drainage can process.
Right, and that's, I guess, it makes me concerned for places like Asheville because who knows how long that'll take to bring that town back.
Well, then you figure how many jobs have absolutely vanished because the building's gone, some of the staff is gone. Customers, who knows where they are.
Be a great time to be an independent contractor if it's allowed.
Wouldn't you think?
Because you could work from home, you could be helping out, you could be keeping businesses afloat.
If we didn't have it, we'd have to invent it. And this is the perfect time because basically they've all been fired from their jobs. One way or another, they're all jobless. They have no income. They don't know what to do. And they don't know who to do it to. And so the platforms perform this fantastic matching service, and gripe all you want about platforms and brokers and all that other stuff. But being able to get at the work and collect for it from people who are not affected, priceless opportunity. And it's all available for independent contractors until it's eliminated, which is what part of the one party is trying to do.
Yeah.
But this is a perfect example, Steve. Yes, great.
So how do we get the word out to I mean, I know we said it about Pennsylvania, but maybe it's not the same. I mean, again, if you guys know people in Arizona and Wisconsin, call them up. And again, don't bring up politics. It's not going to go well. I mean, you could even have somebody who's maybe politically on the same side as you, but somehow could end in an argument. So don't make it political.
Yeah. It's about household economics. It's about your income. That's not a political topic.
And I was thinking about that from last week. Like, okay, how would I was trying to just put it into my realm. Like when you were saying, reach out to somebody in Pennsylvania and talk to them. And remember, I asked you, well, what if you got somebody who's like you were saying, how do we get to the female population in Pennsylvania? And so I was saying, like, if you know a female there that is heavy one way, but you need to have a conversation with her, what I came up with is what I usually do with the podcast and stuff, make it relative to their life.
Right. It's about their income.
Even if they're a W-2 person or whatever, find a way that I see affects them. If maybe they have a nanny, and the nanny's independent contractor. Oh, you're not going to be able to have that nanny anymore. That's too bad. What do you mean? Well, I mean, that's not going to be a thing. You can't be a nanny unless you're a W-2. So you're going to have to call a nanny. But I like my nanny. Yeah, you won't be able to do that anymore. You can't just pick what you want anymore. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's my approach anyway, is to find something in common that I have or know about with that person. And it's not to get over on them. It's to have a conversation about something where they can relate and go, wait, this could affect me.
Well, you're finding the common ground, and it'll be our viewers' interpretation of where the common ground is with each of the friends.
Yeah. So as far as Michigan, I got Michigan in my mind. As far as Arizona and Wisconsin, other than what we talked about for like Pennsylvania, how else can we get words out? I mean, are there Facebook groups? And to post examples on? Because I was going to say to other people too, if you guys want to like see things and you guys are not on Twitter, go to Mike's page on Twitter. He's always posting some articles and news, and you might read it and find that, hey, you know what? I could share this with my Wisconsin people. They should read this.
There are two. That's good, Steve. There's two. There's my main Twitter account, which is where I give the commentary, and that is Venture Mike One. At Venture Mike One, and also on Rumble, they can see all of our previous posted videos, and it's rumble.com/user/Venture Mike One. There we go. That one right there.
Okay, and so Rumble.
That's Twitter, and Rumble is rumble.com.
And I'll actually do this as a link.
Right.
HTTPS. Rumble.com /
rumble.com/user.
Oh, user.
/Venture Mike One.
Oh, no at. Okay.
No at. And capital V, capital M.
Oh. I don't know if that matters, but I'll put it in here anyway.
Whoops.
It's not supposed to matter, guys. But I actually, there's been times where I'm like, I did click it and I didn't do it, and it does matter. But
and they can just scroll through, see a bunch of 1 minute, 30-second videos, and
or even the articles too. Like I see you share articles and your insights, and then Mike and I also know a community of other people who do this on Twitter as well. And I know a lot of people are not on Twitter, but there could be articles on there that you read that are related to your market, and maybe you could share those out, or maybe you could at least read it, take it in, and know, who I should call is my cousin.
Yep.
And call your cousin.
Stimulates your memory.
Yeah. I mean, but maybe look into some of these, because some of these articles do relate, and it might be what clicks with you more than anything else. You might resonate with an article and have a stat in there even that you can use. So, yeah, I mean, guys, we're rolling up on this, and I know that we do this in the middle of the day, and we always appreciate those of you who join us, but I know that more people watch on the replay. So for those watching on the replay, please leave all the comments in these videos after the fact. Leave comments. We will get to replying to all of them. So don't hesitate, and even if they're just questions, you're not bothering us. Just leave them. We're trying to make sure that things are different, that things that we don't lose our chance to be independent contractors. And I think that, as Mike was saying, that's something we might be talking about either next week or in a coming week. I know we still have Michigan to talk about. We still have North Carolina. I know we talked about Pennsylvania. I don't think we've talked about Georgia.
Right. We can do those three next week.
Okay. And then maybe the week after we'll kind of get on to, what happened. Like Mike had mentioned before, like what happens if independent contractor gets lost? So I guess I'll put that question out there and just leave it in your guys' head. Like what happens if and I mean this, what happens if it just, and if you're saying it won't get completely lost, well, what if it does?
Well, you have to allow for very unusual things happening now, because the powers that be are actually losing their grip. And that is a very dangerous time. Very dangerous, because they're lashing out. You can see their celebrities lashing out. You can see their power much more baldly, because they're having to be bold and try to intimidate people. And we know less about the future now than we usually do, and we always know nothing. So we're kind of in negative territory. And I don't mean that in a negative way. We have to act in an environment of very low facts.
I need to say this. I really, really hope that everybody, and I mean, even if it's on the side you believe in, I really hope all of you are leaving actors and things like that out of the mix. Like if an actor comes on that you like and says, I support this, who cares? Who cares what they do? Right. They're an actor. They're no different than you. They're just another person. So just because you like them in a movie doesn't mean you should listen to them.
I would take any driver over any celebrity in Hollywood.
Yeah.
More believable, closer to the truth, more.
I guess that's my point. Like, why would we listen to a celebrity? So what? You got lucky and your headshot made it and you've been in some movies. Who cares? Doesn't mean you know anything about politics.
Nothing. Matter of fact, it's because they've been trying to be a successful actor or actress since they were 3.5.
Right.
And that's what they've focused on, is having the camera on them. And, that's what's important in that field. This field is different. This field is different.
Yeah, I guess make it make sense to you. Don't go, oh, this actor I love is doing this, so I'm going to go with that. Just try and put all that out of your head and just look at what's really going on. I can say this without saying too much because they're on both sides, but I can say there's some actors that I really, really like that I'm shocked are saying some of the things they're saying. And it's just mind blowing to me on both sides. To be honest, I'm like, dude, you're just an actor. You're not a political analyst. You don't spend your lifetime doing this. You just, so who cares what you think?
I would spend the time. I would spend the time with like-minded family and friends.
Yeah,
and your clients.
Yeah, you said that a while back.
Just
put yourself around like-minded people.
They will raise you up. You will raise them up. You come up together.
Yeah.
I think, Steve, you've got a date you've got an appointment. So I
do.
Yeah.
Bud Soda, how you doing, buddy? See that you just showed up. That's okay. You get an excuse.
We're not leaving you, Bud Soda, just because you showed up. We love you.
All right, guys.
All right.
We'll be back next week. And again, please leave all of your questions in here because we got a lot of views last week on the video after the fact. And yet people were not, and maybe I didn't say it good enough, but leave your comments because that we can start off every episode addressing those too, especially the ones that really we need to.
Yep.
So leave your comments, leave your questions, leave your concerns, because a lot of you are working right now while we're doing this live and then you watch it on the replay. Don't think because you missed it, oh, well, they just talked about that in the state I wanted to hear. It doesn't matter. We can revisit it. Just leave a comment below.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. So until next week, guys, I guess try and avoid the news a little bit. Try and take some deep breaths. And
it's a holiday too. Put your feet up, get a popular beverage, and join the fun. Yeah, have some new ideas.
So, thank you guys, and we will see you back here next week.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
Well, you got dreams and you know they matter. Be your own boss, climb your own ladder. That moment's getting closer by the day. And you're in the same boat with a lot of your friends.